lethargic, irritability, and alienations. These are some symptoms of depression. There is a thin line between the teenage depression and the depression in general. My name is Andile Kumete, and today we'll be having a mental health conversation.
Hi, I'm Tobiswa Ntombela.
Hi, Gamana Musonga Zamzamo. We'll be talking more about this topic and also what's it in and depression because I can see and also to touch on stereotypes about Tabas.
Hi, I'm Samgelisi Dlamini. Hi, I'm Pendula Demanding.
So right now we are having a mental health conversation. Like, do anyone know, like when we talk of a mental health conversation, let us share that idea. Like, what do you understand when we talk of mental health conversations?
We're talking about the things that are happening psychologically. I'm not sure if I'm wrong. Yes, the mental health, we're focusing on depression because depression is a very serious issue and it becomes popular, even though some people are stereotyped around it because some believe it's for the rich and some believe it's for a certain group of color of people.
Yes, and when we talk of mental health, like breaking down the concepts when we talk of mental health, we're talking about those conversations that are promoting well-being. As Tobisa has said, that in this case we'll be talking about depression. So, what is depression? Let us break it down. What is depression? Like, let us have this conversation about what is depression.
Well, depression, is whereby we find people breaking down emotionally or mentally, whereas they cannot know, they can no longer control how they feel, or just they are being taken over by our emotions and they break down. Whether abanye bagobi gets ukuthi they hurt themselves, abanye they kill or they do things to avoid they go to drugs. So it's whereby umqondo wakho is taken, or your emotions is taken over umqondo wakho, and there's nothing you can do to control or regain back your life. Yeah.
Yes, and that's true. And
well, we cannot say there's nothing, guys. I feel like there's something we can do.
Yeah, there are
things.
things.
So, like attending a therapy, talking to someone, opening up, and you can even fight yourself. Like you have to put up a fight. Don't give up easily.
yes, and according to the World Health Organization, they say that depression is a globally or it's a common mental disorder, and they say 5% of the adults are facing depression or they are suffering from depression, and most of the time we find that women are affected more or they have more of depression than men.
But that doesn't mean that men do not experience depression. They also do. It's just that some people are not aware that they are having this problem.
Yes. And also, guys, I have a question. Do the therapists, do they really work? Because we have people who have been attending, I'm a therapist, talking to these psychologists and whatever. Like WHP, he was attending from SMNAN, but he ended up killing himself. He was depressed. So do they really work, or it's just to maintain the situation?
They do work. It's because depression, there are different depressions. Some depressions are mild and some are moderate and some are severe. So it depends on the scale of your depression.
And whether are you giving in or are you fighting? I think it's all about fighting.
Yes, so trying to talk as university students. So on Monday, March 23, President Ramaphosa introduced the lockdown for 25 days. It has to start from 3 March to 16 April. No, yes, to contain the spread of coronavirus. Is it 3 March or 26?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
It's 26 March, yes, to be precise.
Did you notice that we ended up staying almost 6 months at home? People lost their jobs, lost their loved ones. You can imagine the things happened around there. and those things, they affect our mental state.
Yeah, and that's how we come about. Like, let's have this conversation. How did it affect you mentally?
Kwenza ukuthi ungakwazi like njengamanje nje ngoba sifunda izinto eziningi asisazazi noma ngabe kukhona like umsebenzi esinikezwa wona asikhona ukuthi sikwazi ukubhala ukuthi sicabange kakhulu ukuthi sizohluleka asizukwazi ukuphumelela. At the end of the day uthola ukuthi sithola ama-results esingawa-deserve. Kube mhlambe bekade sisemaklasini sifunda bengaba khona more information esiyitholayo from lectures, but now we end up getting marks we don't deserve.
Yeah,
And also, mine also say how it affected me personally. Ukuthi nje, it made me to not care mostly about things. Vele, there's this for it brought fear to our families, anxiety as well to the nation, because we don't have the necessary equipment to deal with the disease, but hence we are living under this condition. But we have to face it. Yeah, we have to face it. Yeah, but also nama academics sesathintekile.
yeah, I can say that, like, when we were introduced to this online learning, we had to shift, we had to go back home, and then, like, you find that most of the people who are living in rural areas, you find that they are
They are
They are
limited
clustered.
in
They
terms
are
of
limited, yes.
getting internet,
Yeah.
the network, and everything like that. And another thing, just imagine you are used to having a teacher in front of you, giving you the information, and all of a sudden you need to get your laptop and study on your own, or
Yes.
listen to a recording and ask a question later, while you are used to asking a question directly to the teacher while they are teaching, and you get everything in order.
Alright guys, kanincede mna ke ndisuke emakhaya. How do I know, how do I see ukuba I'm depressed or I have depression njengoba ndisuke emakhaya nje? Because I don't know the depression.
So there are many factors that cause depression, if I have to be honest with you. It can be the chemistry imbalances, it can be
Your
the
family
raging
history.
hormones, the seasonal changes, it can the environment itself. So like for you, moving like from rural areas, we find that we are living in homes where we are crowded, and it's not easy for us to just open your laptop and attend a lecture. And you find that when you're trying to do that, there are a lot of noise, you have to answer, and then you end up not doing anything. And that is so, it's giving you a stress, because remember some factors, it can be a stress and it can be a trauma. So like it's so difficult working. And right now I think people are going to experience this, because we find that we are having a lockdown right now. We are studying online, and right now we're also experiencing load shedding. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And we have lost our loved ones, the neighbors, the rate of death have gone high. Death, I'm not saying death wasn't there before the COVID,
Yes,
but have
but-
you noticed the rate of death?
Yeah, it's increased
In the morning you wake up
drastically.
to your social media, rest in peace.
Imani guys, ngiyanizwa, but how does umuntu osuke from rural areas, as I've said, who knows nothing about depression, how do they see
But
ukuthi
it's,
umuntu,
like
mhlawumbe
Songezo,
ama-signs? Is there anyway mhlawumbe uthi umuntu ohlala yedwa,
Yeah, ama-
mhlawumbe
Antony.
symptoms and stuff
Okay.
like
Yeah.
My symptoms include a loss of interest in activities like ungasayenzi that uyaze maybe isolated from abangani bakho nje uthanda ukuhlala wedwa, and then lose weight into enjengalezo. Isikhathi
I think-
esiningi bayalala futhi abantu
But I
beswele.
think
Sometimes they
ama-mood
lose
swings.
sleep.
Yeah, you do
Yes.
have a mood. But sometimes, guys, I think another thing which is causing depression, especially at this age, we find that we surround ourselves around people who are not good for us emotionally and spiritually. But sometimes we need to move away from those situations. So I can say that it depends. As I've said, that they are different. There are those who are very moderate, mild, and severe. I think it's different from someone
Also,
to
guys,
someone.
remember, depression is also inheritance. It can be that one of your family members has experienced a depression. depression. It can run from blood, and it can also be caused by the fact that you got a lot of work to do, and there's in a little space, like you have too many assignments that you need to catch up on. On online, you can't get a chance to go to library, do proper research, as you're saying. Some is from the rural places, and you find there's only one library. It's in town. You need to have transport money. Your parents have lost their jobs. They are not working, and the fights that is happening within the families can even cause you depression.
Okay, so manizwa kahle nithi there's no class that is affected by depression. Wonke umuntu, whether
Yeah,
you're rich,
yeah,
whether
yeah, it's for
you're
everyone.
poor.
Even some
It's a-
are born with it. It's
Yeah.
childhood traumas, the things that happened to you when you were a
Listen,
child, the way your parents used to fight around you, the way you used to move from places to these places, the neglect when you didn't have a
That's what-
like ubaba,
Yeah.
umama wasn't there, you needed them, and then the thing grows with you. So that's
So
why.
most of us
does,
don't
it does.
ababoni ukuthi we have.
We don't
depression.
realize that we keep on saying that we are stressed, and because we don't react the same on situations, some people will have ama rash, and some will have ama eating disorders.
And some
Those are the
will
things.
fall into substance abuse, the use of
Yes,
drugs
so-
and alcohol.
So there's a lot, and we need to take this seriously. But how can we advise people who have depression? Like, what do they need to do?
I feel like you just need to be able to identify when your mental state, your emotional state, your spiritual state is changing, and you're starting to distance yourself from many things. You need to start questioning yourself. What's happening to me? Do I need help? Recognize those signs. You need the symptoms that were mentioned. You need to recognize them and go for checkups. Don't Google symptoms, you'll die, you'll have more depression.
Yeah, and also
You can get some the doctor's websites. There are apps. The other one that I'm using currently, it's 7 Cups. It's got this thing you can communicate with other people. You can share with them without even showing your identity. Because sometimes I will tell Sandile my problem, and he will broadcast it to the world.
Yeah.
And tell everyone. And then these apps, there's another one that's saying My Therapy. You can use those apps to talk to someone. They got solutions, and they even tell you if your signs are medical conditions, because depression as well can be considered as a chronic illness. Because sometimes you can have a chronic illness, maybe some diabetes or anything like that, and then those things causes depression. So if you are under chronic medication and you're experiencing these symptoms, the depression can turn into a chronic illness as well.
Yeah, and also add on what she has said, Utobela, ukuthi anything you can do to try and run away from depression or face it is to be with good company. Surround yourself with people obathandayo or with your friends, and do your hobbies or whatever you enjoy doing. If you enjoy listening to music, do that. If you enjoy playing football, do that. Because the more you sit, it's where you think about things. Then you start to be depressed, to go deep into your thoughts. If you just play games with your friends, that helps as well.
And do not
that's
overthink,
true,
guys.
yeah.
You mustn't overthink things. Like, everything has its own time. There is a season where you need to face some challenges. Accept that. Pray. Some say prayers help. Pray to meditate.
Surround yourself
exercise.
with good people. So it does help,
And
and
it's
stepping out of
healthy.
your comfort zone. So it does help you guys. So like, it's just a conversation. Like, I'm so sorry for disturbing you. It's just
And
that
do
I have a
some
lot
yoga.
to share also. So like, yeah, I think stepping out of the comfort zone is one of the most important things.
Exactly, we are too comfortable in having people taking care of us, doing some things for us, and relying on certain things, maybe technology, relying on other people, whether they will be there. We must accept that sometimes we need to do things on our own. Sometimes we need to be on our own. Being alone in the house doesn't mean you are lonely.
Ah.
You can be alone in the house, get a book, read some book.
Yes, find a hobby.
Move away from the internet because it also causes depression, as it brings out every time you're having a problem. You can see the codes and everything.
Block, unsubscribe, unfollow,
yes, do
block,
all of those
leave,
things. Guys, the internet can
run
cause
away
more
like
depression.
a black daddy. Like it's nothing personal. You just need your
get
time.
away from everything
Yeah.
that can
Move away.
And also,
disturb your mental.
mina umkhulu umalume once told me ukuthi in the depression into yabelungu, but I see now ukuthi no, nathi yasithinta. And into nosekhaya ngathi nje ngithi if you feel like it's hard for you, just talk about it. For sure, someone
Umkhulu said that because they are not aware of ama-sign. They feel like if someone is valele endlini unamamoto uvukwe yithika, we say zimvukile into zakhe uvuke umkhulu omdala. We believe in those things, but those are the signs. Mawuqala nje endlini ubona ingane or umuntu wakini esathanda ukuhlala yedwa secikeka ngayo yonke into ebenihleka. Those are the signs.
And another thing that people don't wanna engage in mental health conversation
Because you don't believe in them.
There is nothing refreshing like having a conversation, just a simple conversation. Talk about life. Like we're not talking about those conversations that will oppress you, that will depress you, that will tell you that I'm 21 years old right now. I need to have a house because
you
so
even
and so
come
has
close
a house.
to those
I think
conversations.
it's about having conversations. Those who are healthy, talking about let's go to gym,
creating goals, something like that, having
like
more
that.
fun.
And have
Getting out of the
self-affirmations. Those are
every
very
day,
important.
exactly.
Look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself that I am very beautiful. I am very intelligent. I
can do this.
anything.
I can do whatever that comes across me.
So I think that's how we are going to deal with this. So we've had conversation with some of the varsity students, and look at what they had to say about this matter of depression. Okay, so right now we are talking to Anonymous. We're talking to a depression survivor. So I just want to ask him some few questions in order for us to be more informed of how did he get to be diagnosed with depression. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, so knowing you and hearing you telling me your story of how you experienced depression or how you had depression, what was going through your mind at that time? What led you to that stage?
Losing my family, not having anyone who I'd report problems to. I couldn't go to my friends. I didn't trust my friends that time.
So you were building a wall. So you had this wall.
And besides that, I had an issue with my father because of my homosexuality. So I had to deal with it by myself, and
So, like, looking at you are a university student, right? Did COVID-19 and online learning affect you? Did it contribute to your depression?
Yes, it did. I had to go back home, deep rural area,
And
I didn't have a laptop. I didn't have a phone. I had to move to Emirates so that I can use my aunt's laptop to study. It was very hard.
So that's a lot. Like you had your problems at home. You had this online learning. Like, how did you deal with it? Like,
the lecturers were so kind to me because I explained to them.
From you that you had this barrier, like you built this wall because of your family issues, because of your academics, and then it resulted to this. So how did you deal with it?
Prayer, meditation, and my now friends, my my true friends, you and Ukosi, you guys helped me so much, and I'm grateful for that.
So you change your circle.
Yes, I changed
So
my circle.
what can you say to someone who is experiencing or who is diagnosed with depression right now?
First things first, it's okay not to be okay. Find someone who you trust and talk. It helps. Meditate. If you are a spiritual person, pray. Midnight. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. It is very important to count your blessings. So thank you very
Igama
much.
lami ngimpendulo Ndimande. Lapha ngino-Anele. U-Anele ngizombuza mayelana nokuthi wazini mayelana ne-depression, mhlawumbe wabhekana nayo mhlawumbe esikhathini esedlule noma uke wezwa yini ngayo.
Okay, mina-ke as Anele, I'm aware of depression as nganga-experience leyo feeling of like lost interest ey'ntweni ey'ningi, izinto ey'ningi angisezenzi normally, looking in my academics and in life. I-depression into ekhona ngesikhathi une-depression usuke uzwe ngathi like uwedwa emhlabeni, akekho umuntu ongakusiza, awunawo ama-friends and relatives ongakhuluma nayo, so ugcina usebenza ini, ugcina udla idakamizwa, sewudakwa, wenza izinto that will relax your artificial, uhlala wedwa, you even think to commit a suicide. I've been down there.
Manje yini Anele kusizile for ukuthi uqede le depression noma wenza ukuthi yeke?
As it depression, yami, I think it lasted for 3 months and I even lost weight. Ngakhuluma, I once got a friend, uMalibongwe, of which bekade kuwumuntu ade ngifunda naye. uMalibongwe, I was able ukuthi ngikhulume naye inkinga zakhe and then uqhamuka nama-solution and I was outgoing after onwards. Igama nguThobiswa waKaNtombela, la eduze kwami uSifiso. Namhlanje ngithe nje ake sichazele ukuthi i-depression iyini kuyena, mayezwa nje igama elithi depression emqondweni wakhe yini efikayo, uyayazi awe yini for
Mina nje ngumususu wami ngayicha, angazi ngaba senkingeni ukuthi ngibe ne-depression, angazi nga-experience, so ngeke ngithi ngiyayazi okanye yake yenzeka ngibili.
but uke wezwa ngayo or khona omunye oke wambona enale nkinga?
Ngeke ngezwa ngayo, ngeke ngezwa kuthiwa ngone depression uyacindezeleka ngokomqondo na emotional, yeah, into nje ekwehlelayo, nento ungathi ungayifuna sengathi ungakholelwa kuyona ukuthi usenkingeni ngaleso sikhathi, ukwazi ukuyi-identify uzokwazi ukuyisolve.
Alright, ngiyabonga.
If you feel it's difficult, talk about it.
There is hope, even when your brain tells you there is.
Depression is living in a body that tries to survive with a mind that tries to die.
No one is coming to save you. Chase your own goals. Fight your own mentally. Fight your own inner ability. Fight your own emotions. Don't give in to depression.
Together we can fight depression.